The Wizard, the Robot Order, and the Interdimensional Procurement Department, a humorous economic saga of Optimus, AI clusters, and the mystery of the floating purchase order. The morning began quietly, which immediately made the Wizard suspicious. Nothing in the global robotics laboratory ever began quietly. Normally, there were forklifts moving equipment, AI assistants debating database structures, engineers arguing about connector standards, and somebody inevitably asking where the extension cords had disappeared to. But today, silence. Complete silence. The Wizard looked around cautiously. Something is wrong. The apprentice nodded. I was thinking the same thing. At that exact moment, a printer began making noises. Then another. Then another. Soon every printer in the building erupted simultaneously. Paper emerged. Pages flew. Folders appeared. The coffee machine activated itself. The logistics manager fainted. The Wizard smiled. Ah, the universe has sent another order. The purchase order from somewhere else. The stack was enormous. At the top sat a single page. Project, Humanoid Assistance Platform. Status, Approved Objective, Build it. The apprentice flipped through the remaining pages. There were diagrams, AI architecture plans, mobility systems, sensor arrays, safety systems, manufacturing projections, training schedules, medical assistance modules, spaceflight adaptation studies, agricultural support packages, industrial maintenance software, and approximately 400 pages discussing robot fingers. The apprentice blinked. 400 pages? The Wizard nodded. Anyone who has attempted to build a useful hand understands this. The great ordering begins. Immediately the flow started. Servers were ordered. Workstations were ordered. Vision systems were ordered. LiDAR systems. Microphones. Force sensors. Battery systems. Development kits. Motor controllers. Safety equipment. Testing fixtures. The apprentice noticed something. Nothing had been built yet. Yet suppliers were busy. Engineers were busy. Manufacturers were busy. Truck drivers were busy. Warehouses were busy. The order itself had created economic activity. The Wizard smiled. Once again, flow begins. The arrival of Optimus. Several weeks later, the loading dock doors opened. Everyone gathered. Forklifts waited. Engineers waited. Cameras waited. Even the AI assistants paused their arguments. The crate descended. Slowly. Carefully. The markings read, Humanoid Robot Platform Handle with Care. Do not teach sarcasm. The crate opened. The robot stood silently. Everyone stared. The robot stared back. The robot tilted its head, then spoke. Good morning. The apprentice jumped. The robot looked concerned. Was that incorrect? The apprentice recovered. No, it was just surprisingly polite. The Beowulf Cave. The Wizard led the robot through the facility. Past machine shops. Past assembly areas. Past laboratories. Eventually, they reached a room humming with energy. Rows of computers filled the chamber. Cooling fans whispered. Lights blinked. The robot looked around. What is this? The Wizard smiled. The Beowulf Cave. The robot processed this. Are there monsters? Only software bugs. The robot appeared relieved. The Beowulf cluster represented years of accumulated computing power. Node after node. Processor after processor. Simulation after simulation. The cluster could model mechanical systems, analyze sensor data, train AI systems, run virtual prototypes, and occasionally crash because someone forgot a semicolon. Chateau. The sensor department. The next stop was the sensor laboratory. The robot encountered vision sensors, depth sensors, thermal sensors, pressure sensors, acoustic sensors, environmental sensors, motion sensors, position sensors, tactile sensors, and one experimental sensor that nobody fully understood. The apprentice pointed toward the mysterious device. "What does that one do?" The researcher shrugged. "We're still trying to determine that." The robot quietly took several steps away from it. The 7 diagnostic centers. In another laboratory, the wizard unveiled a unique project. 7 major system monitoring centers, each dedicated to a different functional layer. Power, movement, balance, perception, communication, decision-making, integration. The apprentice laughed. "Those look suspiciously like technological chakras." The wizard smiled. "Perhaps." The robot examined the displays. Energy flowed through the system. Information moved continuously. Sensors reported. Controllers adjusted. Processors analyzed. Motors responded. The robot suddenly understood. A functioning machine was not a collection of parts. It was a collection of flows. How? The apparel division. Across the hall, another department had appeared. The robot stopped. "What is this?" The sign read, "Robot Apparel and Specialized Equipment." Inside were racks containing industrial safety clothing, medical support garments, space flight concepts, construction equipment, agricultural accessories, laboratory uniforms, formal conference attire, holiday sweaters. The robot looked puzzled. Why would a robot require a holiday sweater? The apprentice smiled. Because humans become nervous around robots. The robot processed this. So the sweater is a social interface. Exactly. The robot appeared satisfied. The economic revelation. Months passed. Development accelerated. Software improved. Mechanical systems improved. Training improved. Applications expanded. The robot became increasingly capable. One evening, the apprentice reviewed the accounting reports. The numbers were astonishing. Not because of robot sales, not because of profits, but because of everything surrounding the project. Suppliers had grown. Training programs had emerged. Service companies had appeared. Researchers had been hired. New products had been invented. Entire industries were forming around the ecosystem. The apprentice finally understood. The robot was creating value far beyond itself. The temporal break room. One afternoon, the robot entered the break room. Several future versions of itself were already there. One worked in hospitals. One repaired spacecraft. One managed farms. One taught engineering classes. One apparently operated a bakery. The present robot looked confused. The bakery robot explained. Long story. Nobody questioned it. Experience had taught them not to. The real mission. Late that night, the wizard updated the project journal. Outside, the stars shone. Inside, the laboratories hummed. The robot stood quietly nearby. The wizard wrote, "Many believe the goal is to build a machine." He paused, then continued, "The machine is only part of the story." He looked around. The staff, the engineers, the AI systems, the suppliers, the educators, the technicians, the apprentices, the software developers, the manufacturing teams, the support services, the researchers, the robot. The wizard smiled. The order had once again created flow. The flow had created capability. The capability had created opportunity. The opportunity had created an ecosystem. And the ecosystem was beginning to create a future. The robot looked over his shoulder. "May I offer an observation?" "Certainly," the robot replied. "It appears humans call this robotics." The wizard nodded. "Yes," the robot continued. "But from my analysis, It is actually a large-scale cooperation machine disguised as a robot project. The wizard laughed. Congratulations. You are already thinking like an economist. And somewhere beyond time and probability, another purchase order quietly emerged from the Interdimensional Procurement Department. The subject line simply read, "Project status, continue." Everyone groaned. Everyone smiled. And the work continued. Global Robotics Corporation Robert Coley,